This is RuggaMatrix International, the world's leading independent rugby podcast, quoted more than anyone else. It's no wonder that our major partner is Strike, Australia's leading provider of Bluetooth car kits, so you can stay safe in your car and avoid hefty fines. So go hands-free with Strike. Enter the code RuggaMatrix and you'll get 10% off. Go to strike.com.au to get your discount. RuggaMatrix also brought to you by mybean.com.au. We sell at roasters' prices. Let's get it on. Hello and welcome to episode 203 of RuggaMatrix International, and I'm really looking forward to this one, as I'm also looking forward to my co-host, Mark Cashman, in the flesh this week.
That's right, Brom. I remember a couple of episodes ago I was like this for the entire show.
Yeah, no, you made. Greg Rowden reckons it's the most sense you've ever made.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so we had a bit of fun.
Good to be back in the studio, mate.
Yeah, good to have you. So welcome back here, Mark Cashman. All right, without further ado, let's go straight to our guest this evening. And he is an absolute champion of a fella. I'm so happy to have him on. And it is none other than the Brumbies and Wallabies hooker, eventually Wallabies hooker, I say, Josh Mann-Rea. Josh, welcome to RuggaMatrix.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for the invite on the show.
Yeah, really glad to have you. I've been trying to sort of get it done for a few weeks, but what a great opportunity ahead of your game against the Force, and also the other grudge match in Australian rugby in the Waratahs and the Reds. And a good mate of ours, Casho, is Ben Robinson, will become the most capped Waratah ahead of Phil Waugh. So that's great news. But Josh, mate, you finally got that Wallaby cap. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, mate, very special, to be able to pull on that jersey, represent your country, and be one of those elite fellas that get to do that, a lot of pride in it, and it's definitely something that I thought might have passed me, and very, very, very honoured to represent my country.
Josh, have you thought about getting a real job anytime soon, or you reckon the dream's going to continue for quite a while longer, maybe through to a World Cup?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't really want to hang the boots up now. It's to be a professional footballer is it's a great job, and we're very lucky to be able to do that. I've had to sort of get a real job for a while there, and it's made me realise how lucky we are to be able to be a sports person as a career.
Tell us about those real jobs. You had some work in the mines, bit of truck driving and stuff like that, wasn't it?
So I just got to working underground in the coal mines in Wollongong. Just started on sort of secondary support on drills and stuff, and then got a shot at development panel, so sort of developing all the roads and longwalls and stuff on the miner and shuttle cars and stuff for a couple of years. So that was it was great. I worked in a really good crew, and it wasn't sort of different to footy. You worked in a team and that sort of thing. So it was a great experience, and I really enjoyed it with the boys down there.
Yeah, and actually Nathan Blacklock's doing it at the moment, driving the big trucks. Josh, saying he's really enjoying it as well. He gets off on it. So I guess there's a few footy players that do that, and Nathan, we wish him all the best with it. But Josh, great scenes. As the hookers got knocked off and you got closer and closer to playing for Australia, what were you starting to think?
I sort of, because at the end of last year my hammy wasn't too good, so I knew straight I had to go into rehab and fix that after we got knocked out in the semis. So and they started injuries and that, but I was still a couple of weeks away, and I really didn't think that I was going to have a shot anyway. Being sort of my age and that sort of thing. So. And then I was preparing for an NRC game one day with the Country Eagles, and finished up in the morning, and then on my phone I had a few missed calls from Ewan and that sort of thing, and rang him, and he was like, mate, I need you to fly on the plane either Sab over to Perth to train with us all week, and maybe on the weekend you might be playing, depending on how Sire with his first baby coming along. So it was a bit of a shock, I tell you. So, but I couldn't believe it, and I was really, really ecstatic when Ewan called me. So it was great.
You probably, Josh, had a bit of a ringside seat to a lot of drama in Australian rugby at that particular time of the year, and you've got a new coach now with Michael Checker. What are your thoughts about him, and what's his style that he brings to the table?
Chex. I think he's really great. Like he loves that physical style of football, and a lot of accountability on yourself. So, which is I think it's great. It's pretty simple sort of way, and I think once the boys buy into it and all that, I think it's going to be it'll be a good game plan, that sort of thing, coming into the World Cup next year.
Now, what about the Brumbies? Stephen Larkham is your head coach, and well, we all love Bernie here on the show. However, you have lost one of the world's best forwards coach in Laurie Fisher. How have you been able to keep up your work with the set piece, because it has been impressive so far this year?
Yeah, like Laurie's there's not many guys like him out there. He's amazing. Set piece, breakdown. All that sort of stuff. He's probably the best I've been coached by. The 2 years I got with him down here before he left was, he sort of changed my game. And but we've just sort of carried on with sort of what he's left. Dan McKellar's come in now. He spent a year with Laurie last year before he left, and he's taken the reins over, and everyone's adapted really well with him. He's a good coach. I think he's just going to get better, and we pride ourselves on our set piece, just doing the basics right, trying to secure a good ball for our backs and get them on the front foot.
Josh, a couple of guys have caught my eye in the early rounds in your pack. Scotty Sio's come back from his little injury sojourn at the end of last year really, really well. And a guy who I saw down playing for the Canberra Vikings in the NRC, Rory Arnold. He's stepped up, hasn't he? He looks like he might be the goods to me.
Yeah, Rory's in terms of rugby, he's still pretty green. So I actually got to play with him in combined country against the British Lions. Was that a couple of years ago or whatever? So that's when I first got to meet him, and when he rocked up at training, it's like, geez, this guy's he's got to be he's 208 centimetres and that, and he's just gotten better. He's come down here. He had a bit of an injury with his shoulder, but he's knuckled down, and as you've seen, every week he just gets better and better. I think he's going to be a very good prospect for Australian rugby. And Scotty, we know the sort of player he is. He's a powerhouse. He carries so hard, scrummages well. He's an aggressive player, which is it's good to have them sort of guys in your forward pack. Yeah, absolutely.
And Josh, I remember you back in the old New South Wales days. It was quite a while ago now, but as a 34-year-old, what do you bring to the table that maybe some of the younger blokes don't, the younger bulls don't bring?
Just probably, at their age, I probably didn't take my opportunities. I took it a bit for granted, and just trying to tell them, like, mate, you've got this chance at this. Don't sort of waste it. Pretty much, I'm very, very lucky to get another shot at professional football. Not many guys get to do that. So, I'm one in many that, not many that get that second shot. So, just mainly just saying, look, just put everything in what you got, and if it comes off, it does. If it doesn't, at least you can say, well, I gave it me all, and you just don't want to have to look back and think, I wish I would have trained harder, or I wish I would have focused a bit better, and not partied as much or something like that, because I've been there and done that sort of thing. So.
Josh, most people in rugby got nicknames. Yours is pretty good, Bongo. Can you talk us through how you got it and what does it mean?
I don't know. It's been around for a long time. I think I got it in high school. I think I was a bit of a clown around high school and that, so Bongo the Clown. But it's just funny. It's just every team I've gone to or something, someone's known me as Bongo, and then everyone's just latched onto it. And yeah, I can't believe it's still around now. Nearly 20 years later.
But
not many people know me as Josh Mann-Rea. They wouldn't know me real name, I'll tell you that.
Well, actually, Josh, on the Brumbies website, you're referred to as Joshua. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm usually only with Joshua when I'm in trouble.
Josh, I did see you a couple of years ago when we went down to Canberra to do a story with Clyde Rathbone, and so you're sneaking through the back door there. But you were looking around the Brumbies at that time, and I thought it was great that you were going to get another go. But obviously injury struck again.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like I got an opportunity to come down,
What
and
year was that again?
uh,
It
what
was
do we
only
have?
about 3 years ago.
Yeah. So 2012, I think.
Yeah.
12, 30, yeah. So I got an opportunity to come down, spoke to Lordy and that, and he said there's an EPS there if I'd like to take it. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to have a crack here. And then about 4 weeks into pre-season, I did my ACL, and I definitely thought, oh, that's it, it's over. Then just sort of spoke to Angus, Doc, and that sort of thing. Spoke to a surgeon, got the Lars put in, went with that way instead of the sort of traditional hemi, and he said that I had a pretty good knee. I just snapped the ACL clean, so I didn't have to, I didn't do any other damage in that, and so I got that in. Then 16 weeks later from surgery, played my first game, and trained my butt off, and I was lucky I got re-signed for the next year. And then, I've been lucky, sort of touch wood, I haven't had any more injuries, and the knee's just sort of getting better and better. So, very lucky to, that the Lars worked out for me, because I'd sort of heard a bit of sort of bad press about it and that, but I was just, sort of there was no other option for me at my age, sort of thing. So
who convinced you to go for that?
Well, I spoke to the doc, and when I spoke to my surgeon up in Sydney, he sort of run me through it and that, and just said I was a perfect candidate for getting a Lars. So I sort of just put a bit of faith in him as well, and got it in, and like I said, it's it needs a bit of oil and greasing every now and then, but apart from that, it's
we all, mate.
yeah. I think that's more my age than my knee, but
Josh, you and Stephen Halls could probably compare operations at different times of the aftermatch, really, can't you?
Yeah, mate. It's good to see Halsey's back. Like, I got to play Eagles with him as well. He was, good to see him back. He's a quality player, and it was sad news when I heard that he could have been ruled out for not playing again. And then when I heard that the operation went well, it was great to see him on the paddock. Again.
This Brumbies side, Josh, has matured. It's evolved. It's it's a whole collection of different ideas, and whether they come from Jake White, Stephen Larkham, even Laurie sort of Fisher, and it seems to be a good little mix that's happening down there at the moment. And you've got a bit of point scoring ability in the back line now, haven't you?
Yeah, like our back line's it's pretty sharp. There's a lot of attacking power there. Big ball carriers there as well. So it's pretty much up to us as a forward pack to make sure that we, big responsibility to get them that ball. They're pretty hard to stop when, we give them good front forward ball. We've got two quality playmakers in Matty Tamura as well as Bruzzy, Leofano. So if one's taken out of play, one just drops, steps straight up. Then we got, Tavita and Spady and Joey and, ball runners running off them. They're pretty hard to stop. So, we're pretty blessed in that sort of way. But like I said, it's just a big responsibility for us as a forward pack to make sure we get that ball, and that's why I think we, put a big focus on our set piece to make sure it's, clinical enough so we can give them good ball, Yeah,
and those big boppers out wide, Kirandrani and Spate, just phenomenal athletes. Josh, the thing I've liked about your performances so far was a great one against the Chiefs in New Zealand, and we've already, Cash and I were talking about this before, about it's a couple of weeks out before we really start seeing who's going to be the main challengers at the end of the year. You got pipped at the post with a penalty at the end against the Chiefs. The Chiefs last week absolutely demolished the Crusaders. I know you can't sort of compare those games because they're different scenarios, but you must have been pretty happy with that effort, mostly over in New Zealand.
Yeah, mate, we were disappointed to lose in the in the last minute or whatever it was in that game, but they're going to be definitely at the point end of the season. They're an amazing side. They're tough. A lot of attacking players. They're and the New Zealand, they like to throw it around as well. So they're a hard team to play. You think you're going for a set piece next minute, they'll do a quick throw, and then you're chasing them again. So, but yeah, we focused on that. Us and them have always been a pretty close match these last few years. It's a pretty bit of a grudge match and that sort of thing. And we're really up for that. We had a good week of training. We focused on travelling because we want to turn that around this year. We want to, we've realised that you got to get some wins away to try and secure a home semi-final and that. So, like I said, we're happy with the performance that we weren't, because we really wanted to leave there with 4 points, and we almost did it. So, like I said, happy, but disappointed that we didn't get the win over them there.
Josh, how has the draw suited you guys? Do you seem to be ducking across to New Zealand a fair bit early on in the season? And when do you guys come up against the South Africans? Because that's a whole different ball game that you're playing. It's a different style of rugby, isn't it?
Yeah, especially I think it's near the end of our South African draw. So it's hard to go over to South Africa near the end of your draw too. Because they're well into their sort of the way they play and that by then. It's often sort of good to hit them early. Before they start hitting their straps. And so I think we've got the Lions and the Stormers over there this year. Lions, play really good at home there. Stormers, I think they're still undefeated at the moment.
Yeah, they are.
So, they're looking like a quality side this year. They're tough at Newlands. But saying that, every team in this competition, you can't take lightly. If you have a little bit of a day off on your performance, and a team that's lower down the rankings plays well, and they'll knock you off. You know what I mean? So you can't afford to sort of take any team lightly. I found in this comp, we did it a couple of years ago where we drew with the Kings, and they were coming. I think they were coming last then, and we ended up having a draw, and that all those little ones where you lose at the on the death or draw and that, all those points, they add up at the end where you're struggling, when you're really scraping to get some points to get a home semi or make the finals.
Josh, tell us how you and Stephen Moore worked together. Obviously, Stephen, for a brief period, was Wallaby captain, and he was struck down by injury tragically last year. How you guys work as a unit, the hookers?
Yeah, good. I'm pretty lucky. I've known sort of Squeaky I played school against him, when we were a sort of 16, 17-year-old. He's a bit younger than me. I think he played first when he was 15 or something up in Brizzy there. So, and then we're in the Reds College together. So, I've known Maury for a long time. So, we got a good relationship. He's, one of the best hookers in the world. I believe easy. He's got great set piece. His work rate is unbelievable. He's so consistent. He's a big leader down here in our Brumbies setup. He's our captain, and a lot of inspiration. So, we work really good together. Always, having a chat, working stuff, talk about who we're going up against, those sort of things, because he's played a lot more footy than I have at this level. So, I often, ask him, what's this player like? What's that player like? He's always got a good insight. But yeah, we have a good relationship there, which is healthy. Same as with Saliva, the young hooker. We've got a really good dynamic there at the Brums with all the hookers.
Listen, Josh, all that aside, you'd give him a bit of forward in the live scrums during the week, though, wouldn't you?
I think we all do. Not to be rude, it's a bit of a cock off always at scrum time, especially pre-season. So it's good, but we've got Dan Palmer down there for our scrums too. He's doing a lot of work with this and that sort of thing. So I think everyone's sort of seeing the benefits out of doing a lot of scrum stuff with Palms and having a go at each other and that sort of thing.
What's the story with Dan? You mentioned him there. Had a contract in France, and he just sort of said, "I don't want to do the rugby thing anymore." Is that right?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I know he was over in Grenoble or something, but I know he's a pretty smart fella. So I think he does all the uni stuff and all that sort of thing. So he's got a bit smarter head on his shoulders than I do. So I'd rather just stick my head in the scrum than stick my head in a textbook.
Wow, don't sell yourself short, though. But Dan does do a lot of writing. I mentioned briefly before Ben Robinson and his 10-year career becoming the Waratahs' most capped player. Can you talk to us a bit about Ben's play and what makes him such a good loose head prop?
The caddy. No, yeah, great to see him. He's going to be the most capped Waratah. That's amazing. He's had a great career. I think caddy's he's an amazing player. He's got for a front row, he's got amazing skills. He's been around for a long time. He's he's got a pretty smart head on his shoulders. Got a lot of experience. And yeah, he's just, I think, as a front rower, the skills that he can perform and that sort of thing, is a second to none. There's sort of not a lot of fellas out there that can, pass like he can and carries well, scrummages well. He's a bit of a complete package, the old caddy.
Yeah, he is, absolutely. I just, Casho, on the forwards thing, want to keep it going with the Force. So the Force this week, Josh, one of the best forwards coaches I've ever seen, one of the best tight five coaches is Michael Foley. So, and he plays a game that's pretty much structured around the capabilities of his team. What makes the Force such a difficult team to beat? Because they absolutely do the job on a lot of teams that should be better than them, but they always seem to come up with that win.
Yeah, mate. I think they're pretty clinical. Like they retain the ball well. Good set piece. I got to spend a bit of time with Files at the Waratahs after I come back from Japan, before I headed down here to the Brumbies, and he's very big on his front row stuff. Learn a bit there with him, and like you said, he's big on his set piece, being a ex-international hooker, and they're just very clinical in what they do. They can go for many phases and that, and just wear you down, and then a simple missed tackle or something, and they're over the try line. So it'll be, and the defence is pretty good as well. So we're expecting a big game here this Friday. They're going to be out there coming off a loss from the Hurricanes, so they're going to be pretty wound up to come and get back on the winning formula. So it's always a battle with the boys. You sort of Aussie teams, you sort of know each other pretty well. So we're expecting a pretty tight clash here this Friday night.
Yeah, Josh, those the local derbies have been fairly intense performances. That Force performance against the Waratahs was superb first up. Just back onto the scrummaging thing, have you noticed that I just see some of the front rowers becoming a bit more squat, and the taller front rowers probably not as well adapted to the new scrummaging laws. Do you agree?
Yeah, I don't mind the new laws, and that has become a bit more technique sort of thing. Like the striking and that. I've sort of, when I was coming up, I sort of always struck for the ball. So when I first come back to Super Rugby, when they were just hitting and sort of walking over, I wasn't really used to that sort of style of scrummaging. So I like this. You can work your player a bit more, and work with your props and that sort of thing. Is a bit more of a wrestle rather than just smashing, and then whoever wins the hit sort of wins, pretty much just walks over the ball. So at least now, if you sort of lose the hit, you can work yourself in angles and that to try and disrupt their ball, or get a tight head or whatever you're sort of working to do. So it is funny. I think some of the shorter props just sort of tend to fall into shape a bit easier, and some of the taller guys might get a bit longer with their legs and get overextended. But I'm really enjoying the way they've gone with the scrummaging now. It's more of a contest, I believe.
Yeah, and I think it's actually where it's supposed to be, Josh, because we talked to you and Mackenzie about this in the past, where the All Blacks really brought in the hit, and the hit really wasn't supposed to be part of the game. And scrummaging is scrummaging. You're manhandling your bloke opposite, and that's why Benny Robinson's so good. I mean, he's low to the ground, and I know Al Baxter used to say he just couldn't get hold of him.
Yeah, those sort of shorter guys, if they get low and find shape, they lock in there, and they're pretty hard to move. So. Well, if the other way, you'd sort of, if you win the hit and you made your front row step back, you pretty much had them, because you just keep going through them. Well, now if you hit, you can't just keep chasing it, because you'll get pinged for pushing before the ball's in. So yeah, I think it's really good the way the scrummage laws are going. I think.
Yeah, because as a former fullback, I know absolutely everything about that play.
That's right, those 15s know everything about the scrums. Josh, you played Super Rugby, you played Club Rugby, you played Test Rugby. The step up from Super Rugby in terms of, and we were talking about scrums here before. I'm sorry, it's a bit of a scrum fest, Bronk, but that's the way it happens. Yeah.
It's been the best episode so far.
Yeah, it has. What's the difference between a Super Rugby, the contest in a Super Rugby game, and the contest in a Test match?
I think it's just another step up with speed and probably more. You just got to be a lot more precise at what you do. You can, from club footy to Super Rugby, you can get away with a lot more. Not being as clinical, and then from Super Rugby to Test Rugby, you can get away with being less clinical again. I think the level just rises. The opportunities for mistakes and that you just can't. If you make a mistake, it allows the team, like you make a mistake against a New Zealand team or something like that. You're going to pay the price. You might only get a certain number of shots in the 22 in the A zone to perform or something. If you don't come away with points or a try or something, you're going to pay the price at the end of the game.
Yeah, and just on that, we saw at the weekend how Ireland demolished England's scrum, and that doesn't happen every day of the week. And Ireland really doing well up front. What do you think about, you had a chance to go on tour and saw them from very close range about how Ireland's developing, and were you impressed what they did to England in that epic game at Aviva Stadium at the weekend?
Yeah, they're a really impressive side, aren't they, at the moment? They're just getting better. Like I said, I got to watch them play against the Wallabies last year. We were on spring tour, and yeah, they're becoming a really strong side. I think they're a big chance in the World Cup. They're very physical. Their set piece is strong. They attack the breakdown hard. They flood off a kick, they put them up, and then flood the breakdown hard and turn over. Their defence is strong. They put some good hits on England as well, on their bigger ball carriers. You can't really. There's not much you can sort of say is wrong with their game at the moment. They've really turned it around. I think over the last sort of year and a bit or so, they're just getting stronger, and they're really they're great to watch. That game, I watched that one against England, and they were great. It was a great game. They just absolutely belted them.
Yeah, they certainly did, Josh. But it's a game where they're very, very disciplined in what they do. They kick a fair bit. They've got probably the best 5'8" halfback combination in the world at the moment. I think Sexton's playing very, very well, and they just do stuff they know they're going to get pay out of, and they don't deviate. And that's all. That's just a matter of good coaching, isn't it?
And in further to that, Josh, is that their kicks are effective. So England might kick the same amount as England, but their chase is absolutely spot on. Everyone knows what's going on. You can tell that everyone's bought into the program under Schmidt, under Kiss, under the whole lot there, and that's what you want. And you feel like the Brumbies are like that.
Yeah, I'm hoping. We are the sort of game plan that we've, it has adapted with Jake leaving and then Bernie taking over and stuff like that. But everyone buys into what we're trying to do here, and hopefully, it's worked in these last 3 weeks. So hopefully, it can improve, and as long as we keep buying into it and just focus on that, I'm hoping that'll it'll take us to the finals at the end of the year. It'd be great to hold up that cup at the end of the year, and a lot of work to do yet, but we started well, and everyone's pretty much on the page. We've worked hard during the preseason, that sort of thing, and I think everyone's pretty excited down here. They're happy with the sort of the plan that Bernie and Dan and have sort of put for us. So we got some good leaders. We got some good decision makers as well out there, which is good. It's always healthy to have your decision makers that are making really good decisions and your leaders and that.
Josh, is it harder for a team to chase a premiership, or is it harder for a team to defend a premiership? Obviously, talking about the situation the Waratahs are in, which is probably, well, something that hasn't happened to them before. It's a difficult go to actually defend a premiership, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never won a premiership, so I can't really talk about that. But yeah, I think it. I'm not quite sure. Like, you take every season as it comes. So, they had a lot of success last year and that, but I know most of those boys in that squad. I've played with a lot of them and that sort of thing, and I know they'll be pretty ramped to go back to back. I know that we've got them in a couple of weeks, and I know it's going to be a pretty fiery encounter. It's that semi-final I played last year against them was one of the most physical games I've probably played. We absolutely bashed each other. So, I think, I don't know. It's people always say it's easier to chase than to defend. I think because you haven't had that success. You're a lot hungrier and that sort of thing. But for me, it is because, like I said, I've never won a premiership, so I can't really talk about defending one yet. Hopefully, maybe next year.
Well, the interesting thing is that Cheika's pretty much banned the trophy from being around the joint in New South Wales Rugby because he wants to avoid that thing. He doesn't want the trophy sitting there in front of everyone in the foyer saying, we've got this thing. He wants them to chase it again. So he's sort of one step ahead. And I know every coach wants to put that sort of out there with his squad. Don't think that you're defending it. It all starts again. You won it at the end of last year, but you don't hold it right now.
Yeah, start that clean slate, and then we're after it again. So, yeah, I'm sure all that squad will be ready to to chase it as hard as they did last year. I'd be expecting anyway.
All right, mate. Well, we appreciate your time. Just a couple of quick ones. Enjoying Canberra?
Yeah, mate. We got me wife and 2 little girls down here, so we really enjoyed it. It's 3 years now. So, my wife's family's only an hour and a bit up the road in the Southern Highlands, so it's nice and close to for them to come down and that too. And it's a good family town. We're pretty lucky here because it's a small sort of city sort of thing. Well, we're a pretty tight knit bunch. We always hang out, and it's not far to catch up and that sort of thing. So we enjoyed it. Yeah, it's good. Just a big country.
Who you hang out with, mate? If I'm going to the Canberra and I see you walking around, who am I going to see you walking around with?
Honestly, probably my wife and kids. No, I don't know. Just I sort of mingle with all the boys. It's that's a good thing here. I found too. Whether that's the youngest guys, the 18-year-olds, or the older fellas, we all get along pretty well. And the younger fellas don't mind having us old blokes hanging around with them either. We don't cramp their style or anything too much.
You still a groover?
Oh, I try to. I sort of have to hang the dancing shoes up a bit, but I try to be a groover.
So they sound like they're still a good bunch of blokes to hang out with, the Brumbies, because it is a different environment. It's a much more tighter knit community.
Yeah, I found that when I come down here, it was very different how much we sort of hang out. So many functions and barbies and. Because we eat breakfast and lunch every day together, and you're around each other a fair bit. You think we get sick of each other, but it's something special I found here at the Brumbies. It's a real family. We get everything, all the partners and wives and everything involved. So, it's something special I think we've got here with the Brumbies, and I think it's sort of always been that way. From what I've heard, so a lot of old players and come in, and that it's a real good sort of family sort of program thing we got going here. So I'm very lucky to be a part of it.
What about your other family? Just briefly, Rocky Elsom, Drew Mitchell, Adam Ashley Cooper. All living in the same place at Coogee a couple of years ago, and if you can actually still see it if you come to Sydney. It's right on the water. Now, Rocky, I think, took with his drums the biggest room, and they reckon they put you in like the cupboard out the back. Was this true?
Yeah. I was like Harry Potter, the kid. Yes.
What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was great. I didn't.
Talk about Animal House.
Oh, mate, it was it was great. You know, it was a beautiful place. That was when I first come back. So the wife and little ones were down at Robertson, and I was sort of up there for sort of 3 months until the task finished. So the first time I brought her up to the mansion there on the South Coogee Cliff, she's like, "Oh, no wonder you don't want to come home." But yeah, it was great. You know, because I'd known Rocky. I went to school with his older brother, and sort of got to see him grow up when he was younger and that up the sunny coast and that. So I got to, live with him again. And although he wasn't there much, old Rocky, yeah, it was sort of just me, Drewy, and Swoopy. So, and I got to meet Swoop. I didn't know Ashley Cooper for before. So yeah, it was great. We had a great little house there, and yeah, it was a good experience. It was it was a beautiful house, and yeah, we had a couple of good nights there.
You should move to when you finish up with the Brumbies over to Narbonne and join Rocky over there, where he's like the owner CEO.
Yeah, I've heard that. So I might have to send him a little text or an email, eh?
Well, I think if you keep your eyes open, Josh, Anthony Hill, the club president, was at TG Milner Field last Friday watching the Panthers 15.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
was he?
Yeah.
There you go. That's all good. Hey, that's a great story. We could go on and on, but we're really so happy we could talk to one of the guys up front in the engine room who's been around a few years, but mate, at 34, I reckon you're looking fitter than you ever been. And I know at 7 News we always give Fat Cat a run, Ben Robinson, and whenever Josh Mann-Rea is doing anything, we always give you a run as well, mate. So you have got buddies out there looking after you.
Thanks a lot, boys. Thanks for having me, eh? It was an honour.
There he is, the great Josh Mann-Rea. Bongo, thank you very much for joining us.
Good chat.
Cheers, boys.
All right, so just wait 1 second there, Josh. We'll say goodbye off air. But Casho, thanks for joining us, mate. How's the business going? Programs for the Waratahs?
Yeah. Listen, started program for the game against Josh's team, the Brumbies, this week.
I hope there's a big
looking
write-up.
good.
You got a big write-up on Bongo?
Oh, there might be.
Yeah,
there might be
I hope
now.
so. Okay, very, very good. Mark Cashman, in the flesh, thank you for joining us. That is it for RuggaMatrix International this week, episode 203. Don't forget you can dive on the site and listen to, they haven't got vision yet, but maybe we'll have it soon, of RuggaMatrix America. That is our American podcast. Join Bruce McLean and Alex Goff and the team. It's absolutely well worth it. Until next week, we will cover all the local derby action. Have a good week and enjoy your rugby.